everyone, I'm Heather, and in today's video, I'm going to share with you all the things that my family noticed on our recent cruise on Holland America Line that were missing. Okay, before I get started in today's video, I would really encourage you to subscribe to the channel if you find my videos interesting, helpful, informative, anything like that. Subscribing is free. It does not cost you anything. I sat next to a couple on our shuttle on the way to our most recent cruise, and they explained to me that they definitely thought that subscribing to a YouTube channel costs something. It does not. Subscribing to a YouTube channel is completely free. It does not cost you anything. They don't ask for any information from you. All it does is let YouTube know that you enjoy the content that this channel puts out, you enjoy my videos or find them interesting, and you want to see more of them. By subscribing, all you're doing is letting YouTube know that you want to make sure that you don't miss any of the new videos that this channel puts out. And so then they're going to suggest them to you on your homepage. They're going to give you a little dot next to the channel name in your subscriptions list. And that's basically it. It's just to let you know when that channel puts out a video so you don't miss it. But it really does help my channel out, and I am trying to get to 5,000 subscribers. All right, so at the end of May, early June, I went on a cruise to Alaska from Seattle on Holland America Line's Eurodam with my family, which included me, my 3 kids, one's in law school, one's in college, and one's in high school, so they're my older kids, and my dad, who's 81 years old. This was all of our first time cruising on Holland America. Previously, we've been on a number of cruises, but all of our cruises prior to this had been on either Royal Caribbean or Disney Cruise Line. My younger 2 kids and I had been on 2 Royal Caribbean and 2 Disney cruises in the prior year before this cruise, so we had those pretty fresh in our minds. My dad had only been on one other cruise before this one, and it was on Disney Cruise Line in 2004. So it was quite some time ago, and a lot about the world and about cruising has changed since 2004. So that's something important to keep in mind. My older son has been on both Royal Caribbean and Disney Cruise Line like the other kids, but this was all of our first time on Holland America Line. The reason we chose Holland America Line for this cruise is because from everything I've learned about cruising, it's always suggested that if you're going to Alaska, especially your first time to Alaska, that you go on either Holland America Line or Princess Cruise Line. And because of some things I learned in a presentation that we saw on the ship, I understand now why people say that. Holland America Line literally has the longest relationship with cruising to Alaska and Alaskan ports of any cruise line out there. And Princess is kind of similar. They have really good relationships with the ports. We definitely saw it in the fact that we got like priority docking. The Princess ships and the Holland America ships always got the best spots at all the ports. And they, they own lodges, they have a train, there's a whole bunch of stuff. The other thing that we really enjoyed on this cruise, because it was Holland America, was the onboard naturalist, the nature expert that was on board, and all the different presentations about Alaska, like enrichment, educational presentations. And I don't know if any of the other more mainstream cruise lines like Royal Caribbean, Carnival, Norwegian have that stuff. If they do, let me know in the comments. But that was something that we definitely think added to the experience for us in going to Alaska on Holland America, and I think Princess is the same. I should also add that this was also all of our first time going on a cruise brand that is owned by the Carnival Corporation. If you're not aware, Carnival Corporation, which is kind of the umbrella company, owns a lot of cruise brands. They own Carnival Cruise Lines, they own Holland America, they own Princess, they own Cunard, they own AIDA in Europe. I think they own, there's a whole bunch, you can look it up. But Carnival Cruise Corporation owns a lot of cruise lines under their, thing. They are independent companies themselves that have their own traditions and way of doing things, but they are all under the Carnival umbrella. Whereas Royal Caribbean is its own Royal Caribbean group, it's just a couple Royal Caribbean and Celebrity, basically. They used to have Azamara, but they sold them a while back. Disney Cruise Line is its own thing. That's just Disney. So this was a little bit of a new experience for us going on our first Carnival Corporation. And I'm not sure how many of the things that I'm going to mention in this video today might be because of that. We were definitely wondering about it, and it actually made us quite apprehensive about trying any of the other Carnival brands because of these things that I'm going to talk about in this video today. So I've kind of debated about this video, and I'm still not exactly sure what I'm going to title it. Basically, these were things that we noticed as the cruise progressed. Some of them we noticed right away, but every day we'd notice like something else. They were things that were missing or different than the other cruise lines that we'd been on, that we'd come to expect from cruising on Disney and Royal Caribbean, and Holland America didn't have them. And some of them we thought were pretty weird that they didn't have them. And I could also say, to some extent, the fact that these things were missing also meant that these were things we did not like. So I've also toyed with, I'm still not sure, titling the video Things We Didn't Like About Holland America, because these were all kind of negative. Okay, so let's get to the list. All right, the first thing that was different or missing that we didn't like was both my dad and my son Andrew were surprised at, it might have even been lunch the first day, that they had to pay for soda. Okay, now Andrew was familiar with on Royal Caribbean where you can buy a soda package, and I never even looked into it. I think you can probably buy a soda only package on Holland America too. When you think about how much you actually buy and the price of like a soda just at lunch or dinner, it's like $2.75, and how expensive the soda packages are. I don't think I would ever buy a soda pack. I just don't, I maybe had 5 Cokes on the entire cruise. So it just isn't worth it cost-wise for me to buy a soda package. I bought us soda packages on our Harmony of the Seas cruise for all 3 of us. It was so expensive. It was hundreds of dollars for the 3 of us to have a soda package. And you get these big refillable cups on Royal Caribbean, and we barely ever use them. We didn't get anywhere near our money's worth. So the only way I would suggest getting a soda package like on Royal Caribbean is if you really drink a lot of soda, okay? And you're going to go down to there's only 2 places you can fill them up. At the pizza place, Sorrento's in the Royal Promenade, and in the Windjammer Buffet. That's the only places you can refill those refillable soda things. So unless you want to just put water in it, which is kind of a waste, I just didn't like that at all. It was not cost effective for us. But on Disney Cruise Line, soda is included. All your beverages except for specialty coffees and alcohol are included on Disney Cruise Line in the price of your cruise. And the only other cruise line my dad had been on to that point was Disney. And so when they asked for his card at lunch the first day and wanted to charge him and brought him a receipt for his soda that he ordered, he was very surprised. And I understand why he was surprised, because since his only experience was on Disney Cruise Line, where soda is included, he didn't understand why are they charging me for soda. He expected it to be included. And so did my son, kind of. And then we had a conversation about the soda package, and he opted not to get it. My younger 2 kids never got any soda at all. They really don't like it. They prefer to drink milk, water, lemonade. So, which are all included. The second thing that we noticed, and this was a big one for me, I was very displeased with the photo package options on Holland America. On all of my previous cruises on both Disney Cruise Line and Royal Caribbean, I have always pre-purchased an unlimited photo package, usually before I get on the cruise. There was only one time I had to wait until I got on the cruise because we booked very last minute. First of all, Holland America did not have any option to book a photo package of any kind before the cruise. I searched and searched and searched their website and the app, and finally called somebody and asked. And they said, no, we don't have that option. You can't. You can only purchase them on board. So I didn't like that, because in my experience, which you can go back in my previous videos and learn this, it's much cheaper to pre-book your photo package if you buy it ahead of time before you go on your cruise. If you wait until you go on your cruise, it's going to be more expensive. They didn't even have that option. So I was like, okay, well, the price is what it is, because there's no pre-booking option. Secondly, they did not have an unlimited photo option for packages. And this really made me upset because I only ended up getting 10 photos, and there were a lot of photos I would have liked to get. I mean, we were making sure as we took photos every night that, I got every combination of people, me and just my kids, all of us, my dad and each of the kids in pairs together, me individually with each of the kids, and I didn't get to get any of those because just to get the 10 photos that I got was $189. That is more than I have spent on any unlimited photo package ever on Royal Caribbean or Disney. So their photo package prices, in addition to not even offering an unlimited one, were ridiculously expensive. There was one lower than what I got, which was 5 photos for $99. That was the cheapest you could get. Now, thankfully, you did get both the print, which I thought was dumb. I don't want these prints. I'm not going to use them. And the digital on a flash drive. But I only want the digitals. I don't know about you guys, but I didn't need the prints. I gave 2 of them to my dad because he probably will put them in a frame. But I'm never going to use those prints. I just want the digital so I can share stuff on social media, make it into Christmas cards, put it on calendars, things like that. They didn't have that as an option either. There was no option to get just digital. And Royal Caribbean has that. Disney has that. And so I was really displeased with the photo package situation on Holland America. Can anybody tell me if it's like that on the other Carnival brands? Can you book a photo package before your cruise? What are the photo packages prices like, and do they print them all? I was very surprised that Holland America printed everybody's photos. And so they were up, you had to go find them on the wall. And I haven't seen that in like 20 years. I was very surprised at that, and I find it extremely wasteful. They're wasting so much paper and so much ink to print those photos that most of them are going to end up getting trashed. So that was something that was missing. The ability to buy a photo package ahead of time and the ability to buy an unlimited and or digital only photo package. Something I was not happy about at all. Okay, the third thing that we noticed that was missing from our Holland America ship was karaoke. Go back and watch our Disney Cruise Line playlist from our last cruise before this one. Megan sang 1 or 2 songs in karaoke every single night of the cruise. That's one of her favorite things to do. We love going to karaoke. There was no karaoke. She was very disappointed. Now, she has had a problem in the past because one cruise that we went on when she wasn't 18 yet, she couldn't sing karaoke because it was only for 18 and up. So she was disappointed by that. But our last 4 or 5 cruises, she's been able to sing karaoke. She was very disappointed that there was no karaoke, and we were really kind of baffled as to why. And at one game we were playing one night, Don, who was like the entertainment director who ran all the games, he mentioned something. It was kind of a song game, and it was Megan against this man. And he realized that our team, which was this half of the lounge, had sent our best singer, because Megan definitely was the best singer there, I'm sure. She was singing every song. She had to hum them, but then a couple times they let her actually sing the lyrics, and she sings every song. Just put a song in front of her. She could sing anything. Don kind of joked. He's like, wow, you're really good. He said, do you want to get a mic and go in the world stage and perform for us? And honestly, she would have done a better job than the singers that were on that ship. Okay, they were not very good. He mentioned during that game, this is why we don't have karaoke anymore. And Megan heard that and she was like, whoa, wait a minute. Why don't you have karaoke anymore? And he didn't answer, but she caught that he said that. So it sounds like they used to have karaoke and they got rid of it. And she was really bummed because that's one of her favorite things to do. So we have no idea what the deal is with that, but they didn't have any karaoke on our cruise and we don't know why. Number 4. There were no production shows on our cruise. There were no musicals, no put together performances with a story. 2 nights the singers sang in the world stage. We did not go to either of those. Both my oldest son Andrew and my daughter Megan poked their head in at different times when the people were singing and both agreed that they were awful. So I'm glad we skipped it because we would not have enjoyed it. And then there was a dancing troupe And they put on a little dancing show 2 of the nights. We didn't go to the first one, but we did go to the second one. It was fine. I was not impressed. I mean, we go to a lot of quality entertainment all the time, just on land, and they weren't in sync. Their motions weren't sharp. There was a lot of room for improvement. Let's just put it that way. So it didn't like blow me away. I mean, everybody else was like, woo, like this was the best thing they ever said. And I'm thinking to myself, boy, you people don't get out much. But I mean, we just weren't impressed with it. And so, it was just singing. It was just dancing. There was no combination in a show or any kind of production. And so that was something that we definitely missed, because both Royal Caribbean and Disney Cruise Line put on really good production shows. Okay, number 5. This was not a big deal to us, but it's just something that I noticed. And I kind of wonder if it has to do with the age of the ship, which was built in 2008, or if it has to do with the decor and just the materials that they chose for the ship. But the cabin doors were wood instead of metal. What this meant was people couldn't decorate their doors. A couple people tried to decorate their doors a little bit, but it was really hard because the main way that people decorate their doors on cruise ships usually is with magnets. And they get all sorts of cool magnets. But because the doors were wood instead of metal, you couldn't stick a magnet to it. So there wasn't really any way to decorate doors. And so there were only a couple that we came across. Somebody had hung a banner, like happy 80th birthday. And somebody had like lights, but it's like they had to like actually string it over the top of the door. That was just something I noticed. It wasn't a big deal, and I don't know, maybe Holland America doesn't want you decorating your doors. I don't know. But on both Royal Caribbean and Disney, people really go all out decorating their doors. And the reason that they can do that is because the doors are metal and they can do a lot of things with even custom ordered magnets. So because the doors were wood, they couldn't put magnets on their doors. And so there really weren't any decorated doors. Okay, number 6. This is another thing I did not like at all. I was really disappointed when they told us this on the first day. I really usually like eating in the main dining room for basically every meal. And usually it's a very positive experience for me and something I look forward to. But at our very first lunch on the first day on embarkation day, before we'd even left Seattle, the server told us that the menu for breakfast and the menu for lunch in the main dining room was the same every single day. And I was like, oh. And honestly, we didn't like it that much. We only liked a couple of things, each of us, on the menu for lunch. We never did eat in the main dining room for breakfast. It got really repetitive and boring on a 7-night cruise, and we ended up eating the same things over and over because there weren't very many things on the lunch menu that we liked. So that was really disappointing because on, again, Royal Caribbean and Disney, the lunch menu is different every day. I don't know if that's a cutback thing or if it's like that all the time, if that's something, with the current economy or what, but I was very disappointed with that. I had really been looking forward to having nice meals in the main dining room every day, and they weren't very enjoyable because there was only a couple things we liked on the menu, and so we ended up eating the same stuff over and over. So that was definitely a disappointment. So variety of the breakfast and lunch menu was missing from our cruise on Holland America. Number 7. This is a big one. And it took me like 3-4 days before I realized it. Megan noticed the first day when she was walking around the ship and she went into the buffet, she said something about it didn't seem right. She couldn't figure out what it was. And we finally figured out what it was. There's no hand washing stations. There were no hand washing stations anywhere. There was not even sanitizer, or like on Disney, they hand you wipes and then they have garbage cans there for you to throw them away and they want you to wipe off your hands. There was nothing. There was no way to wash your hands before you ate. So unless you went and found a bathroom, way down the hall somewhere and washed your hands, well, nobody's going to do that. I mean, we do, but I think there was one thing of sanitizer outside the main dining room. I never saw anybody using it except us. And then the buffet, you could come in from 4 ways. There were actually 4 entries into the buffet. Port and starboard, forward and aft. You could come in from the one end on either side or the other end from outside either side. and there was no place to wash your hands anywhere. There was no sink station. There was nothing there. That would not fly on either Royal Caribbean or Disney. I mean, they basically in the buffets at least, they basically funnel you through a hand washing station where everybody's expected to stop and wash your hands. And on Royal Caribbean, they're singing a song telling you wash your hands. They have 15 versions of it. So that really kind of bothered me. Now, the majority of the food in the buffet was being served to you, but there still were plenty of things where you picked up the tongs, or you grabbed a sandwich or whatever, or you took the little plate of dessert. So you were touching stuff. If they had to dish it up, they were doing it. You weren't dishing stuff up yourself with a spoon, but there was still plenty of stuff to touch. And so that really bothered me, that there was no way to wash your hands. So I thought that was very strange in today's cruise climate, that especially after COVID, that there's no way for the guests to wash their hands before they eat. Okay. This one's going to seem petty, but we definitely noticed it, and it was kind of weird. They didn't clean up our crumbs from the table in the main dining room when we ate between courses. Okay? Every other cruise I've been on, the kids noticed it too. In between your courses, when they take your starter plates away, and then again when they take your main away, they have a little scraper thing or a little brush and a little dustpan thing or whatever, and they brush the crumbs off the tablecloth and take them away. Okay? They didn't do that. They didn't do that 99% of the time. One time, my son had so many breadcrumbs from the bread service all over his place, and they just left it there. I mean, they were all over, and they came and put his plate for his main right on top of him. And we're like, this is supposed to be a premium cruise line. And they do this even on Royal Caribbean. Every single place sitting, even if you don't have any crumbs sitting there, they still come and scrape your place. And so we were really surprised by that. The only time somebody came and scraped off breadcrumbs, I'm not kidding, they brushed them onto the floor. We were like, what? I mean, we were just stunned. They came and brushed the crumbs off. I don't even know what they were using. Might have been a butter knife. And just brushed them onto the floor. The carpeted floor of the main dining room where we were still sitting and eating. And the server walked away and we looked at each other and I'm like, did they just brush those crumbs onto the floor? I was just shocked. I was just stunned. And I don't think they vacuum in between. We had early seating and late seating. And there were plenty of times where we walked into, I definitely noticed it in the buffet, and there was a lot of food on the floor. A lot of food and stuff on the floor, showing me that they did not have enough staff or enough time to clean the floors between guests. Number 9. This one I'm confused about, and I'm not sure, and hopefully somebody else can tell me. We almost wonder if this is their attempt to be more formal, and if this is an expectation for the crew on Holland America Line, but we're not sure. And I didn't like it. I can see how some older guests might like it, but I did not like it. It actually ended up making us feel like something was missing. It felt impersonal, and it felt like you always had some distance between you and the crew. And it made it really difficult to kind of get a nice bond with the crew. Like even your servers that served you every night, or your stateroom attendant, who I really never saw, like the entertainment staff or anybody, there always seemed to be this formality and this distance that made it less comfortable and fun. And what I mean is they never called us by name. That's unusual for us because on Royal Caribbean, especially on Disney, they will get to know who you are and know your name. And even if they don't remember names, they'll still say, on Disney to little girls, they'll still say princess, or prince to little boys, or they'll say my queen to, or my lady to the older women. But they, for the most part, like your servers especially, will get to know your names and constantly be saying your name to you. Hello, Andrew, or hello, Megan. Hello, Ben. How are you doing this evening? And it's very friendly and okay. And Royal Caribbean, if you have the same service every night, they'll do that too. The place, I guess, that was really noticeable was when we played games. And normally they would have done this in karaoke too if karaoke wasn't missing. If you got called up to be a contestant in a game, the first thing that they'll say on any other cruise we've ever been on is, hi, what's your name? Where are you from? Okay, to make it a little more fun and personable. They never did that. I was a contestant multiple times. My dad was a contestant multiple times. Megan was a contestant. Andrew was a contestant. We all went up there. And never did they ever ask anybody's name. Like, what's your name? Oh, hi, where are you from? Or anything like that. They just skipped right over it and went straight to playing the game. And it just kind of made it less, like even when you were watching other people play stuff, you didn't get to know who they were or, anything about them. I was just kind of surprised on that. It was weird. And the only thing, they would call us ma'am and sir. Everybody. Sir, ma'am, hello, ma'am, good morning, ma'am. To some extent, like there was a formality to it, but it also kind of made me feel old because that's all they ever called us. It just felt impersonal and strange. And I didn't like it. And so I don't know if that's a cruise line thing because they're just trying to be more formal and respectful, I guess. But it felt impersonal and it felt like you had no connection to the crew. And so that made it a less enjoyable experience. Next thing that was missing, my dad pointed this one out. I hadn't even thought about it. Garbage cans. There were no garbage cans in public areas. On the other cruises I've been on, there's usually garbage cans next to the elevators or next to the stairs. Andrew made the point that he thought it looked tidier not to have them. But I feel like the garbage cans that are usually on cruise ships in the public areas are very nice looking. And I guess it wasn't a big deal to me, but my dad had a point. Like if you're carrying something or you have something to throw away, a tissue, a scrap of paper, a toothpick, whatever, you'd have to carry the thing through the whole ship before you got to a garbage can. The only place there were garbage cans that the guests could use were in your room, in your cabin, or in the bathrooms. And I guess that's fine. It didn't bother me, and it didn't actually occur to me until my dad pointed it out. But the fact that he did point it out means somebody's noticing that there's no place to throw your trash. And so there's probably other people that noticed it too. So that was another one that we just thought was kind of odd. Like, why don't they have any garbage cans anywhere? That you had to go into a restroom or into your cabin if you wanted to throw anything away. Okay, and the last thing that we noticed that was missing from Holland America on our Holland America cruise to Alaska was cruise ducks. We did not find or see any duckies. Now, if you're familiar with cruise culture, lots of people like to get little miniature rubber ducks and they hide them all over the ship, and then other people can, with a little note, and other people can find them, and it's cruise ducks on social media, and you can hashtag it and put it on your social media that you found this duck. I always include them in the vlogs. You can keep it or you can hide it for somebody else in a different place. My kids have so far always chosen to hide them again because they think it's fun for kids to see them. I think on the very last day, a little kid in an elevator had a duck. And I remember asking him, where did you get that? Or where did you find it? But I almost think like they had brought it and they were going to hide it. And that was the only one I saw. Whereas on our last Disney cruise, I think we found 3 of them. We always find ducks. And there were no ducks. We didn't see any ducks anywhere. So that's just kind of a little, and I don't know, do the guests on Holland America just not know about the ducks? Do they not participate in the ducks? Or is the crew on Holland America picking up the ducks and not letting people hide them? That's a possibility too. I don't know. But anyway, we definitely noticed the absence of cruise ducks. It's not like an obvious thing. You'd have to, it's not like there's ducks everywhere. They're just, every once in a while you'll see a little tiny duck like hidden, like in a plant or on a little shelf or a ledge or something. And you're like, oh, I found a duck. It's just kind of a fun little thing. And there were no ducks. We didn't actually think about it until that last day when we saw that little kid with a duck, that we're like, oh, we didn't find any ducks. There's no ducks on this ship. So just something else that was kind of made it less fun and less of a bonding experience with the other passengers and stuff that was missing from Holland America. Those were 11 things that were missing from our Holland America cruise that we definitely are used to having on all the other cruises that we've been on. What do you think about this list? Have you noticed these things missing or other things that I didn't mention from certain cruise lines? Do you think it's specific to certain cruise lines? Would things like this, if they were missing, bother you? Would you find it strange if you went on a cruise line and some of these things weren't there? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video or found it interesting or helpful at all, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. And again, if you don't want to miss any of my upcoming videos, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And remember, subscribing is free. Have a great day, everyone, and safe travels.